So I recently came out of the Super Mario Galaxy movie and walked away conflicted. There was the gamer and inner child in me that wanted to just turn my brain off and enjoy the constant barrage of high-octane action sequences that just propelled forward at unprecedented pace. But this side of me was warring with the more mature part of my brain that longs for a coherent story and logical plot progression in movies, that was constantly wondering why a particular scene happened or why a certain decision was made that seemed random. My takeaway leaving the theater was that the experience you'll have with this film depends entirely on the expectations you have for it. If you're a kid who loves Mario and wants nothing more than to see some of your favorite characters in various action sequences on the big screen without a real care for why they're fighting, this film will likely more than scratch that itch. But if you came into this movie with even a small baseline hope for an exploration of the characters and the world outside of just a constant series of loosely connected fight scenes, you're not going to find that here. In this way, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a really interesting film because it sort of cuts at a key question in the modern film landscape. What standard should we hold to a film like this? Is it fair to have certain expectations around plot and character development for an animated movie primarily geared towards younger audiences that's based on a video game franchise? The way the film is polarizing audiences and critics has brought this question up to the forefront, as some people have felt the film accomplished exactly what it set out to, while others found themselves expecting more. If the box office is any metric to go by, the movie's off to a really solid start already, grossing nearly 400 million worldwide. But the movie has really polarized viewers with a stark contrast between audience and critic sentiment. This isn't uncommon for animated movies, especially those for kids, and even the last Super Mario Bros. Movie reported a similar trend. So the film is probably going to make a lot of money regardless, but it still poses the question of what we should expect from this film. My thinking is that we actually should expect more from a movie like this, because we've already seen that this franchise is capable of it. While it was far from a deep character study, the first Super Mario movie paired some of the fast-paced action sequences that we see in the second film with simple character arcs for the main characters and some semblance of a basic story. It introduced Mario as the miniature but more confident brother who looked out for the taller but more timid Luigi. It also gave some important character moments to the other cast of characters and had a simple but effective message for younger audiences about resiliency and overcoming the odds. It had a relatively logical plot progression where I wasn't consistently asking myself why something was happening during every other scene like I did in the second film. It also had a few heartfelt moments that at least struck some semblance of an emotional chord, however quiet, and it felt like a coherent movie that hit some solid narrative beats. Compare this to Galaxy, it honestly seemed like they abandoned any attempt at a larger narrative structure in favor of what felt like a series of 100 short action trailers spliced together with no connective tissue holding them together. The movie just never really slowed down enough to explore character motivations, so it was harder to connect with any of the characters, and there wasn't really any character arc or progression. It was just action sequence after action sequence with no real story development or narrative beats. And for me, this was a bit disappointing because the first Mario movie showed you could have both the exciting action sequences paired with a fairly compelling story and a simple message that holds the movie together. I think having the basic mechanics of a story in the second film would actually have given it broader appeal for audiences who want a bit more than just mindless action. So for me, the answer is yes, we should have expected more from this movie because we've already seen that the franchise is capable of it. And again, I can definitely understand why this movie is polarizing. It's fair for some audiences to just want cool, high energy action sequences from a video game adaptation, and expecting much more can definitely be unreasonable. But by focusing on fast paced action alone, without the narrative elements that typically hold a film together, I do think it ultimately sells the animated medium and video game adaptations a bit short. Expecting a coherent plot and some basic character development isn't asking for too much, and the first film did deliver on this. It's just asking for a complete movie with some fundamental storytelling. Galaxy definitely has plenty of energy and visual creativity, but it ends up feeling more like an extended trailer than a fully realized film.